Imagine for a moment that you are a German soldier in 1942, advancing through the smoking ruins of Stalingrad. You carry your reliable MP-40, a weapon that symbolizes German precision and engineering. But then suddenly, the air around you explodes in a storm of bullets that seems never-ending. The sound is not the controlled pop, 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 but a continuous deafening roar that transforms the battlefield into a hell of flying metal. This is not the war you expected to fight. This is the brutal reality of facing a weapon that would forever change the German perception of technological superiority, the Soviet PPSh-41 and its 71-round drum magazine. What you are about to discover will challenge everything you thought you knew about tactical advantage in modern warfare. The truth is that while Germany prided itself on precision engineering, the Soviets were creating something far more devastating: absolute volume of fire. And this volume would change not only the outcome of individual battles, but the very psychology of war on the Eastern Front. To understand the true impact of the PPSh-41, we must first comprehend what the Germans expected to encounter in the East. German military doctrine, forged in the lightning victories in France and Poland, was based on individual technological superiority and tactical precision. Each German soldier carried an MP-40 with a 32-round magazine, a weapon that represented the pinnacle of personal armament engineering. German commanders believed that quality would always surpass quantity, that superior discipline and training would compensate for any numerical disadvantage. Heinrich Müller, an Obergefreiter of the 24th Panzer Division, wrote in his diary in June 1941, "The Russians fight like animals, but their weapons are primitive. Our MP-40 is a work of art compared to their improvised equipment." This confidence was not unfounded. The MP-40 had a rate of fire of 500 rounds per minute, was accurate up to 200 yards, and rarely jammed. But there was a fundamental problem in this equation. The Germans were calculating based on a reality that was about to be completely destroyed by Soviet mass innovation. The PPSh-41 was not born from precision engineering laboratories, but from brutal necessity and the genius of mass production. Georgy Shpagin, its creator, was not trying to make the most accurate weapon in the world. He was trying to make the most effective weapon for Soviet soldiers in real combat. And here lies the first shock. While the German MP-40 took 5 hours to be produced by specialized craftsmen, the PPSh-41 could be manufactured in just 2.7 hours by semi-skilled workers. But the real revolution was not in the production speed, it was in the drum magazine. When a Soviet soldier loaded his PPSh-41 with the 71-round drum, he was not just carrying more ammunition, he was carrying a completely different combat philosophy. The rate of fire of 900 rounds per minute, combined with more than double the ammunition capacity, meant that a single Soviet soldier could unleash 71 projectiles in less than 5 seconds of continuous fire. To put this in perspective, while a German soldier with an MP-40 needed to reload after 4 seconds of continuous fire, the Soviet soldier could continue firing for over a full minute. The first documented encounter between German troops and units mass-equipped with PPSh-41 occurred during the Battle of Moscow in December 1941. Hauptmann Klaus Weber, company commander of the 2nd Panzer Division, reported an experience that would become sadly familiar. "We attacked a position that seemed to have only a dozen defenders. When we began the assault, the world exploded. The sound was unlike anything we had ever heard. It was not controlled bursts, but a continuous roar that seemed to come from everywhere at once." What Weber was experiencing was the devastating psychological effect of concentrated fire volume. A single Soviet section of 10 men, all equipped with PPSh-41s and drum magazines, could produce a fire density equivalent to an entire company armed with bolt-action rifles. The numbers are impressive. 10 Soviet soldiers with PPSh-41s could fire 710 rounds in a single coordinated volley, creating a wall of lead that made any frontal advance virtually suicidal. This was not just numerical superiority, it was a fundamental transformation in the nature of infantry combat. The initial German response was disbelief, followed by a rapid adaptation that would reveal the true impact of the PPSh-41. Captured Wehrmacht documents show that as early as January 1942, German commanders were issuing specific orders on how to deal with the problem of Soviet submachine guns. General Heinz Guderian, wrote in a confidential report. The enemy has demonstrated a sustained fire capability that exceeds our previous estimates by at least 300%. Our frontal assault tactics need to be completely revised, but the most revealing adaptation came from the German soldiers themselves on the battlefield. They began capturing and using PPSh-41s whenever possible. Obergefreiter Franz Halder noted in his diary, "I traded my MP40 for a Russian PPSh today. My comrades thought I had gone mad, but after using this weapon for a week, they are all looking for one for themselves." The Wehrmacht officially designated the captured PPSh-41s as MP41R and even began producing 7.63 25mm Mauser ammunition specifically to feed these captured Soviet weapons. The psychological impact of the PPSh-41 went far beyond casualty numbers. German soldiers began developing what modern military psychologists would call fire volume anxiety. Gefreiter Otto Brenner, a veteran of the campaigns in France and Greece, described the experience in a letter home. "In France, we knew we were superior. Here, even when we win, we leave trembling. The sound of those Russian weapons, it's as if hell itself has opened. You can't hide from the noise. You can't count the shots. You can't predict when it will stop." This psychological transformation was exactly what the Soviet designers, perhaps unconsciously, had achieved. The PPSh-41 not only killed German soldiers, it broke German confidence in their technological and tactical superiority. German medical reports from 1942 show a 400% increase in cases of combat fatigue and war neurosis among troops who had faced Soviet units equipped with PPSh-41s, compared to units that fought only against forces armed with conventional rifles. The true genius of the PPSh-41 revealed itself not only in its fire capability, but in how it transformed Soviet tactical doctrine. Before its mass introduction, Soviet tactics heavily relied on costly frontal attacks, where courage compensated for technological inferiority. With the PPSh-41, the Soviets developed what became known as fire saturation tactics. Small units could now suppress entire German positions, allowing for more sophisticated maneuvers. Major Ivan Petrov, battalion commander of the 13th Guards Rifle Division, explained the transformation. "Before, we sent 100 men to take a position and lost 60. Now we send 30 men with PPSh-41s and lose 5. The difference is not just in casualties, it's that now we fight like soldiers, not like martyrs." Production data reveal the scale of this transformation. Between 1941 and 1945, the Soviet Union produced more than 6 million PPSh-41s, equipping virtually the entire frontline infantry. For comparison, Germany produced only 1.1 million MP40s during the entire conflict. The moment of greatest impact of the PPSh-41 came during the Battle of Stalingrad, where the weapon's unique characteristics perfectly aligned with the demands of urban combat. In the city's ruins, where engagements occurred at distances of 30 to 160 feet, the sustained fire capability of the PPSh-41 became absolutely devastating. Hauptmann Ernst Koenig, of the 24th Panzer Division, reported, "In urban combat, our superior accuracy means nothing when they can unleash 70 shots while we fire 30. Every corner becomes a deadly trap." The Soviets developed specific tactics to maximize this advantage. Assault teams of 4 to 6 men, all with PPSh-41s and drum magazines, could clear entire buildings in minutes. The fire density was so intense that German soldiers reported that the walls seemed to melt under the volume of projectiles. Captured German documents show that, in December 1942, some Wehrmacht units in Stalingrad had more captured PPSh-41s than original MP40s, a tacit admission that the Soviet weapon was simply superior for that type of combat. The influence of the PPSh-41 extended far beyond the battlefield, forcing a revolution in the German arms industry. Confronted with the reality that their philosophy of quality over quantity was failing, the Germans initiated the development of weapons that prioritized fire volume. The result was the creation of the STG-44, the world's first true assault rifle, which combined the accuracy of a rifle with the rate of fire of a submachine gun. Hugo Schmeisser, the designer of the STG-44, later admitted, "The PPSh-41 taught us that the average soldier needs fire volume, not sniper precision." We had to completely rethink our approach. But this revelation came too late. While the Germans spent precious resources redesigning their weapons, the Soviets had already equipped millions of soldiers with a weapon that, although technically simpler, was tactically superior for the reality of combat on the Eastern Front. The irony is palpable. The nation that prided itself on its superior engineering was forced to copy the design principles of a weapon they initially dismissed as primitive. The legacy of the PPSh-41 transcended World War II, establishing principles that still influence modern weapon design. Its philosophy of fire volume over individual accuracy became the basis for the development of assault rifles worldwide. The AK-47, developed by Mikhail Kalashnikov after the war, directly incorporated the lessons learned from the PPSh-41: simplicity of production, reliability in adverse conditions, and sustained fire capability. German veterans who survived the war carried with them a lasting respect for the weapon that had shattered their confidence in technological superiority. Franz Halder, now 89 years old, reflected in a 1987 interview, "We learned in Stalingrad that war is not won by the most accurate weapon, but by the weapon that allows the common soldier to fight like a hero." The PPSh-41 transformed Soviet peasants into formidable warriors, and that changed everything. The final truth is that the PPSh-41 not only changed the course of the war, it forever changed our understanding that, in the chaos of real combat, sustained fire volume can be more valuable than individual accuracy, and that sometimes genius simplicity surpasses sophisticated complexity.